What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tech in 30. I'm your host, Chris Mackey here from Blue Collar Marketing. Got a really special guest with me today. We got our boy John here from Gold Patrons. Super interesting tech that we're going to be talking about today, man. Something that I don't think, I haven't really heard of too much, but it's starting to kind of make its realms into 2025 here, man. So without further ado, man, John, please introduce yourself.
Man, Chris, thanks for the introduction. So, first of all, before anything, I have to say, what drew me to you guys was you have the best marketing ads I've ever seen on Instagram.
Hey, respect, brother.
To the point where I knew we had what we were doing, we're going to start working together, and I'm excited, and I know all about your company. But I still see the ads, I'm like, I got to watch this through. Because I remember there was one, I think it was, might have been Wes on there, where he was pointing to a couple of guys that were, I think they were just doing some basic contracting. It's like, you see, these guys are working, they're not on Instagram right now.
There we go.
I was cracking up. So I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited for everything we can do together for both your customers, our clients, but more importantly, being able to make sure that we can protect and cover everybody, as many people as we possibly can, from a scam that, unfortunately, they don't know exists.
Absolute.
So when it comes to what we do, Gold Patrons, I'll go into the very rough how we started, because Gold Patrons, it's like, what is that? It has nothing to do with real estate, nothing to do with construction, nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Originally, Gold Patrons was a company that I made about 4 years ago now, and it was the Gold Patron program. I'm in my home office, so I hope you can't hear Archie Baby barking,
No, you're
which
cool,
our technology is actually named after him, but I'll go into that later on.
Let's go.
So, Gold Patrons, we made what was called the Gold Patron program, where we developed our in-home blockchain technology to make a really high-end rewards program for small businesses to help them get back on their feet after COVID. One of the customers we had was this little coffee shop called Milano's, right? Now, Milano's, they had to close during COVID, but Starbucks was allowed to stay open, Dunkin' could stay open, all the competitors could stay open, and I'm in New York, so the restrictions were very, very heavy down here. But now you're asking yourself, why was Starbucks essential and why was Milano's not? Meanwhile, you're both doing the exact same thing. So by the time the restrictions lifted and Milano's goes, great, you're allowed to open, it's like, well, hold on a second. All of my customers are here now. I have to pay the back rent. And what's going on? I just got hit with all these bills. Maybe I don't have the customers I used to have. My employees might have found other work. It was chaos. So the Gold Patron program was a way to develop really high-end rewards programs for these small businesses to help their customer retention come back. Essentially, if you went to your local mom and pop coffee shop, right? And they said, Chris, I'm sorry, for $100 today, every time you come in here for the next year, you get a free small coffee. It's a no-brainer because you're there every morning, so you'd save money. You're more likely to recommend people to go there because you're more inclined, you're more attached to that brand. You're more likely to tip, and you're more likely to grab a donut or something else while you're there. So it was a way for us to build the customer relations with these small businesses more, while simultaneously giving them more revenue, more customer stability, and give them a couple bucks cash they needed right away. So what our system did was we developed, like I said, the Gold Patron program, which was 100 copies of, at the time, we were using NFT technology on the Ethereum platform.
Cool.
Now, if you guys aren't familiar with blockchain, essentially think of it, a blockchain and NFT technology. If you remember those pictures of like the Bored Apes and so on and so forth, why a JPEG was going for upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars, it was because the technology was induplicable. Meaning that if I sold you a copy of this gift card or of this Gold Patron program to your local mom and pop coffee shop, and you weren't exactly the best type of person, you'd make a copy, give it to your buddy. Now all of a sudden the store is losing money. But when you had this registered copy of, at the time, NFT technology, it referred it that this was only yours. You scanned it when you went in the store, and you were covered. You got your free coffee, and everybody knew that was yours. So the store would make their money, but more importantly, we would charge the small businesses about $1,000 for 100 copies of these. Now, they made their money back in the first 10. And if you've ever walked into a coffee shop that's a mom and pop shop at 6 a.m., There's a line with more than 10 people there that are there religiously, and they were all happy the store business is open back up. So they sold that immediately the first day. From then on out, the other 90 copies they had, it was $9,000 of liquidity that they needed ASAP. So it gave us a way to benefit small businesses with their local economy, their customer base, marketing, networking, and the whole full circle.
Cool, man. Very cool, man. When
Thank
you
you.
look at like the connection of it, man, too. So like when we get onto like what Gold Patrons is now, man, I
Yeah.
want you to kind of maybe start off by explaining like what this scam is, because this happened to a buddy of mine too as well. Like someone tried to pinch the title off of him, and like how you brought it from what it was there a few years back to now what it does in terms of like helping not only contractors but homeowners too as well.
Yeah.
Can you start like kind of with what the scam is and then how Gold Patrons is helping basically resolve this through the technology you guys got over there?
Absolutely. So one little detail before I tell you all about the scam, because it's going to be a rambling. A
Yeah.
lot of people think that because they have title insurance, they're covered for this. But title insurance only covers that the title and the deed are correct at the time you buy the home and the time you sell the home. So if you've lived in your house for 20 years, that title insurance covered you day one and your last day of that home. That whole time in between, you were susceptible to these deed and title theft scams. Title insurance came around before the invention of the ballpoint pen. So they only covered refiling fees, where an O looked like a Q or a B looked like a D or something like that, because it was before a ballpoint pen. So these titles were written with ink and quill and they were mailed out, where watermarks had come from the mail and so on and so forth. So those things happened a lot. Nowadays, we work with a lot of title companies, but it's not an excuse to not have title insurance because you need it. However, that's the reason we partner with them, because we want to make sure you're covered from day one to your last day. So now the actual scam itself is, as a contractor, you guys are working on homes all day, and I'll ask you all the exact same question, which is, when was the last time you went to the county clerk's office to see if you still owned your home for no other reason, right? Chances are, unless you just bought your house or you just paid off your home, you haven't gone there, because why would you?
Big time.
Exactly. You'd have no reason to go there.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is everybody's information out there is online on the black market. The only question is, are you worth scamming to these people, really? Because they have everybody's birthdays, they have everybody's socials, they have everybody's everything. So from here on out, they're really just going down a list, and it's only a matter of time, if your credit is good and your equity is good in your home, or at least something, for them to say, let me take a crack at you. Now, deed and title theft is essentially identity theft on steroids. Because people say, well, I don't get it. They can't, how can they transfer the name of my home into their name? It's like, you have to understand they're not committing legal activities here. It's illegal, it's fraud.
Yeah.
So they're signing over a fake bill of sale and a fake deed saying, Chris, you sold me your house for $500,000. And the county clerk's office doesn't care that there's no mortgage or there is a mortgage or anything. They care, oh, we got our refiling fee. Great. Have a good day. Enjoy your new home. And legally in New York State and a lot of other states within the United States, they can't even ask you for ID. But even further than that is that most of this just happens online anyway, because all of these scammers are from overseas taking American properties.
It is insane that that's even able to be done, man. Like that, it boggles my mind that people could actually like either walk into places and do this or do this online, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, this can't happen. And then like legit, before we even met you, man, it happened to a buddy of ours where same exact thing cost hundreds of thousands of dollars even to like get this going. And it's like he was buying a property that wasn't even, the seller's property because it basically got pulled from right under him, man.
Yeah. Dude, it's absolute utter madness. And as technology begins to thrive, it happens more and more. So the slogan for our company is protection from today's thieves using tomorrow's technology. Because we're always one step ahead of these scammers. We know how they think. We have a personal vendetta against them. We're actually getting coffee mugs made that say scammer tears. We're all in on this war, right?
Nice, man. Let's go.
Now, when it comes to contractors in particularly, because I know you guys are watching this and you're watching Blue Collar Marketing because you're a contracting company and you want to know, okay, well, how does this affect my business, right? So let's talk large scale contracting first and then go down to smaller scale where you may not need permits because the larger scale one is critical. So what a lot of scammers will do, first of all, is let's say you're doing a job where you're going to add a dormer to your home, right? You have to get a permit for that, of course. Scammers will sift through the county's data office and say, oh, there was a permit requested for 123 Oak Lane, right? Now, if you do let's say a $50,000 permit job to build that dormer, the value of that home went up a lot more than $50,000, didn't it? So now a scammer knows, hey, this home in 3 months, 4 months, is about to have an extra, call it $150,000 being conservative, bunch of equity just thrown right into it.
Big time.
While the customer was getting a lot of mail, a lot of nonsense, because there's a lot of people doing the exact same thing, going through that same data network and saying, oh, you applied for a permit? Have you considered new windows? Have you considered this? Have you considered that? Even though you're on the job, you know spam as well as anybody else. So that's the worst of the worst in the sense of customers being directly attacked with scammers because they literally have a hit list of, oh, you applied for this permit, boom, boom, boom. They go after you next and next. But now when it comes to contractors that aren't getting permits done, does a scammer have a network to see what type of job is getting done, whether a brand new kitchen, say didn't do a permit, or a brand new basement, or so on and so forth? No, of course not. However, there's a couple key factors there. First of all, if somebody just put a new kitchen in their home, they like that home, they plan to stay in that home for a long time. Now, if they're going to refer you to another business, another client, they're not going to refer you if they got their house stolen. They couldn't care less about their kitchen after you did an immaculate job, every nut bolt, everything twisted to a T, if they just lost their house. So now, are you guys responsible if somebody gets their home stolen? Of course not. It's ludicrous. However, there's two major components here. First of all, a lot of people apply for financing to get these jobs done. So now a homeowner, if they lose their home, they look at your company, and of course you guys weren't liable. They lost their social security number from, let's say, a Ticketmaster hack 10 years ago. But they're going to court and saying, hey, these were the last people to have anything to do with my social security number. Now, when you're trying to convince a jury and attorneys of who mismanaged my information, when they don't even know the scam exists, they don't even know about it, it makes a lot of sense to say, hey, the last person to touch it broke it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we simultaneously work as basically a firewall of safety for you guys. Before we even got into the contracting business, we were working with a lot of mortgage lenders specifically. So we were simultaneously building a free fraud and loss department for the banks, just on accident. By the scammer not taking somebody's home, the bank didn't lose all this money because they weren't going to pay that lien back. It wasn't going to happen. So with you guys, we're able to provide you with sort of a golden ticket of a service to cover your clients from head to toe with this service that they didn't know they needed. And it's hard to tell somebody about something they don't know they need when they can't explain it, they can't understand it, which is why we work with you guys directly. That's the reason we're with Blue Collar Marketing, to make sure that we can provide a service to help build your business up even better. Because if we were to, for example, what are we, 15 minutes in the episode right now? If you're going to learn about something that you don't even know exists, doesn't sound real to you, and just scares you a little bit, let's say a homeowner that didn't want to lose their house, 3 minutes into this, you would have clicked away, be like, I don't want that. Meanwhile, their house might already have been stolen, and they're in that about to be foreclosed range.
Yeah.
However, because we work strictly business to business, we're never going to be able to undermine the prices for you guys. Because as far as the customer is concerned, they're getting it for free. They're getting our service free with you guys, and it's just one more additional service of, hey, I'm going to work with your contracting company because your prices are competitive, your work is incredible, and now you offer this thing that I didn't hear somewhere else. And we'll talk about how the finances work with that later on a one-on-one call, should you decide to sign up with us. But that's the nitty-gritty of how does a Gold Patrons partnership affect you guys? That's the majority of it. And really, that's the important part. Because,
Cool, man.
yeah,
Yeah, and when you break that down, John, just kind of like, for the people listening here, man, because I want to make sure it's super clear in terms of like how this, operates with a contractor, man. And from
yes,
what I'm hearing and chatting with you before too, man, it's like it's very much like a value-added service. This isn't something that, needs to ridiculously increase the price that gets put onto like the customer. This is something that can be very much like used as a huge value prop in terms of like this is happening. This is something that you should be concerned about, but that they can now blend into their pricing, man. Like what is I know it depends on the job, the type of contractor, but like what does like a typical relationship look like with, some of the contractors you have on your Rolodex there, man, in terms of how they go out and add this extra value for people so that their homes are obviously going to be safer at the end of the day.
yeah, absolutely. So the beauty of it is we are the only deed and title theft protection and recovery company on this planet. We're the only ones out there. That being said, there's a lot of flexibility with how our pricing has to work. So if you're going to do, let's just say, a $10,000 bathroom, right? Which is a pretty cheap bathroom, but it's still a solid job. You can tack on $200 on your back end fees for the Gold Patron certificate, and we split it 50-50. So we take 100, you guys keep 100. So now you're making more liquidity on that job right off the bat, while simultaneously giving your clients this added service. And to be honest, we're a relatively small business in terms of we're not the size of Apple or anything like that, right? So we've succeeded with very close relationships with the companies we partner with and have always worked on kind of a scout's honor. Like, hey, you charged an extra $200 for this job, great, you owe us $100. You charge an extra $5, great, you owe us $250, whatever it is. So job prices vary. And whatever you feel is a comfortable price to tack onto your back-end fees to provide for our service, we're fine with. The majority of our jobs are a bit larger, where there'll be maybe $20,000, $30,000 dormers, where the companies we work with will add $1,000 on the back end. We take $500, they take $500, the customer's covered for life. Now, you don't need to understand, and your salespeople don't need to understand everything we do to a T. Far from it. If anything were an added, I'm not sure if I don't know with you guys or somebody else. Well, listen, when you partner with us, you get this service free of charge. And we're going to give you guys pamphlets where the customer can look on there and say, this is what it's all about. This is that added level of service of protection that we can provide you where our customers can't really get anywhere else. Because like I said before, if you redo your kitchen, nobody cares how nice that kitchen is if you just lost your home.
Absolute, man. No, 100%, man. And I wanna just double back too on the, because like to me that makes a lot of sense, man. Making it super transparent in the pricing, like it's almost like a no-brainer. Like people spend a lot more money just on warranty stuff than doing something like this. It has like a much bigger impact there, man. So again, to make sure everything's like nice and crystal clear, man. So if I am doing a bathroom remodel, man, can you run through the process of exactly, again, just one more time, like in Spark's notes of like from the time that permit is obviously put into place.
Yes.
What are the scammers doing to then basically take over the permit, your house, the paperwork, and how does the system that you guys have in terms of like Gold Patron, I know that you guys are using blockchain technology.
Yes.
How does it monitor that and activate that? Like, what does that look so that it gives the homeowner and the contractor the peace of mind that everything is taken care of? Can you kind of go through that maybe one more time there, John?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's scary that it's not very complicated. So what ends up happening is everything you do with the government in any way, shape, or form is on public record, at least for the most part. And the things that aren't, the scammers can access through hacking the databases.
Yeah.
Now, you have to remember that the scammers that are stealing people's houses, because you're thinking of scammers that are calling for like a Target gift card or something, and you're laughing them on the phone because it's ridiculous. But these guys are really, think of it like white-collar crime. They really know what they're doing to where they're pulling $250,000 of equity out of people's homes. So are they successful all the time? No, but they get a lot of it. So here's what happens. a scammer, let's just say hypothetically it was a permit job, right? They sift through the government's data and they say, hey, let's refresh the page. Like you would refresh your social media account, you see all the new posts. They refresh, go, oh, this permit was filed here. Then they would check out the home in the county clerk's office, and they would check your mortgage. And they'd say, oh, you know what? There's already a lot of equity in this, and the home is owned by Mary Smith. Then they'll check Mary Smith's social security number, and they'll go, oh, she's got good credit too. This is a perfect target for us. So from then on out, they will essentially wait for the work to get done. Now they know if you put, let's say, $30,000 in, your house is worth exponentially more. They'll file that fake bill of sale and that fake deed with the county clerk's office, and they've already submitted the mail to go to a different address. So you're not going to get the mail from there on out. Even if you have a service that monitors your mail, let's say hypothetically, the biggest flaw with a lot of those services is you have your own account on there. Meaning that if you wanted to stop your kids from watching Netflix so much, you delete your credit card information. They can't watch it anymore. So what do these people do if you have somebody monitoring your mail, in particular, because nobody's monitoring your home address like we do? They'll delete your credit card information. So they're not out. They'll say, oh, you had an account with X monitoring service, X credit monitoring service. Mm-hmm. And it's a good thing to have, but it's not going to protect you from this scam. Because they'll go, oh, now that we deleted your credit card information, it's going to expire in a month. So guess what? For $250,000, we'll wait a month. And then we'll process everything. So let me just go over the steps again, because I just went on a rant and a tangent about that specific detail, because that's a big one.
Big time.
So they refresh the page. They see, hey, you got a permit. They check that there's equity in the house. They checked if you have decent credit.
Yeah.
Because they're not taking these loans out with their credit. They're taking that with your credit. From there on out, yes, yes, okay. Now they submit the fraudulent bill of sale, the fraudulent deed to the county clerk's office, and they cover the refiling fees, right? Because you haven't gone to the county clerk's office since the day you bought the home, you probably didn't even go, your attorney probably went, right?
Yeah.
From there on out, they go, okay, we own your house now. And they wait 6 to 8 months. Because if you just closed on a house, you can't file for a hell lock or anything, or else it would raise too many red flags. Mm-hmm. So they wait 6 to 8 months to realize, Chris, you didn't realize I stole your house. So now is our perfect opportunity to take out that hell lock of that second mortgage using your house as collateral, which is really our house, and your credit. From there on out, the bank goes, well, it's going to be this interest rate. Cool, I don't care. I'm going to sign it away because it's not my credit. It's not my house. I just want the money. And nothing else happens on your end because you don't know a lien happened. You got to remember, they didn't just hurt your credit. They put a lien on your home until you go into foreclosure. Now you're kicked out of your home. You're going to be in court for about a year to try to resolve this issue. Spend upwards, even your friend, well over $100,000.
Yeah.
And that's if the bank was nice and kind to say, hey, there was a dispute. We held on to this foreclosed property for you. Meanwhile, a foreclosed home that's not in distress at all, it sells like that. It sells really fast. So we decided to hold on to it for you for free and paid the taxes for free and covered your mortgage. They wouldn't do that. But even if they did, okay, sir, we're sorry a year passed by and you can have your house back. Well, now you're delinquent on your real mortgage a year. You're delinquent on your taxes a year. And if you can't afford to pay all that back end while you had to pay rent, utilities, and moving somewhere else, you just lost your house for real.
Yeah, big time. And you have a second mortgage, too, that's already out there that you've been missing payments on, too, as well.
Well, that would be diminished because that was clearly the scam.
Yeah, crazy.
That would be gone, but your credit would take a wild hit from that. To fix that is a nightmare. So now, that whole process, I'm going to tell you how and where Gold Patrons interrupts all of that, right?
For sure.
So, just like having cops on the road, you can't stop everybody from speeding. The only way to stop somebody from truly stealing your home with step one is the town and the legislation and the states and the country and the world, really, upgrading their entire system to make sure that people can't do this. But you guys know as well as I do, they just want their taxes, they just want their money, right? So why would they do that if they're getting millions of dollars in fraudulent deed and title fees, right? So they'll happily accept these illegal fees because as far as they're concerned, hey, the scammer had all the right paperwork. Sounds good. It's solid. So here is where that 6 to 8 month waiting period happens. Because if they took that headlock out right away, you'd raise so many red flags, right? Everybody would be notified. Our system, we have an in-house AI system that I developed called Arch. It's named after my dog Archer, who I was telling you about earlier.
There we go.
It stands for Automatic Response to Changed Homes. So our AI sifts through a couple networks that I can't really talk about on here every 48 hours. So instead of 6 to 8 months, we know within 48 hours if something happened. So then we call your clients because you guys are done by now. You sign them up. You'll never have to hear from us with that client again. If something happens to their house, we're not bothering you about it. You gave us their contact information. You gave us the address. And that's all we need. We don't need their social security numbers, their first, their last, their maiden names, anything. So long as we have the address and we have their contact information, we're solid. So we'll call the homeowner and say, hey, it's Gold Patrons. Do you remember you had us, basically? No? Okay. Well, did you sell your house and forget to let us know? Yeah, I sold my house. Cool, no problem. Have a good day. No, I didn't. Okay, well, hold on. Stop. Red flag. Don't worry. We're 6 to 8 months earlier than anything bad can actually happen. Where at which point we walk the customer through how to recover their property, which is pretty simple. They go to the county clerk's office with a copy of their mortgage, taxes, utilities, say, hey, something happened, somebody stole it, I need it fixed. And should they give them a hard time, which, knock on wood, we've never had that happen, and we're catching about 2 scammers per week right now, registering a couple thousand homes a month. We have a recovery service where we take the house back for you for free. We handle it from there.
Cool.
And God forbid all of our systems fail for that one particular person that happened to lose their house and happened to lose everything. We're insured completely to cover all the legal fees to make sure your client gets their house back.
There we go.
Yep.
Nice, man. It's a nice, like, man, it's like very, like, just a hands-off system too. Like, even for like the contractor, man, like if you're looking for something that, to your point there, John, man, that it's not like you're calling the contractor to bug the house client, like to bug the client about getting in contact with you. Guys have all that information just ready to rock and roll. Like,
yeah,
very much is. They're paying for a really cheap price that's within the job, like 24, like honestly 24/7, 48-hour response time on, you know, pretty significant fraud on happening. And it's wild that there isn't more knowledge on this happening because for me, it was the first time I heard of it was when it happened to a buddy. And then even just chatting with you, like this stuff happens a lot, like a lot more than people care to realize. And yeah, I think this is a really sick, like novel software that you guys have to actually be able to like monitor it and then like packaging in with contractors for their jobs that not only just, it's not just for the 1 bathroom remodel. This like protects the person's home now for the longevity of their home there. I think it's such a smart play to, you know, provide 2 ounces of value there. Yeah, you're getting a new bathroom. Plus now you have like basically another additional layer of insurance on your home here.
I appreciate that. You know, a way we like to describe it to a lot of our contractors too is you back up your work, right? You have a warranty, you back up your work. If something happens that you just put in and it broke 2 months later, we'll come fix it because we believe that we did a quality job on your home.
For sure.
This is our way to make sure, and I say your contracting company, this is your way to make sure that we don't just back up the work we did, we back up your entire home.
Big
And
time.
not that saying our company, meaning the contracting company, is the ones to be doing that, because who's it our responsibility? But we went out of our way to find a service, such as Gold Patrons, really only Gold Patrons, to make sure that we provided this added value to our clients, because we care about you, we care about the home that you decided to upgrade to really call home forever. That we want to make sure that everything's covered, every nut, bolt, cranny, and you're happy, healthy, and safe there for life.
Absolute, man. And then one thing about, as we kind of come to the end of this episode here, man, I just want to, like, one thing you brought up that was really awesome there. It's like, you know, you're catching 2 scammers a week.
Yeah.
You know, you're putting on thousands of home there. Can you kind of talk a little bit, just maybe quickly for like a minute or two, just like the stats of this happening? Because it's one thing us telling it and saying it, man.
Oh my
It
God.
is like, I want people to realize like how often this is actually happening here. So if you have any like facts, figures, stats, just in terms of that, that'd be awesome just to share quickly as like a nice wrap up to the episode.
So here's some rough numbers for you real fast, right? We've been around for the past 4 years. The vast majority of our expansion has been within the past 8 months or so, give or take. We register a couple thousand homes a month, and our database consists of roughly 50,000 homes. We've had some really big spikes where we would sign up, let's say, a property management company that manages a couple thousand homes right off the bat. So instead of 3,000 homes that month, it was 17,000 homes. So on average, we have about 50,000 homes we watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, there are millions upon millions upon millions of homes within the United States, which, by the way, it's not just the United States. So long as it's US, Canada, Mexico, Europe, so long as it's not a third world country and they register their properties online, with tech, not on a piece of paper, we can cover it. They're protected, right? So if you're, let's just say, a Canadian-based contracting company, you're good.
Cool.
So based on that 0.0001% chance of, like the 1% of the network that we actually have covered, right? Because we're expanding every day, but we're not covering every house in the world. At least not yet, right? We're working on it, but it hasn't happened yet. We're still seeing 2 people get their houses stolen per week. Now,
It's crazy.
scammers love to pry on weakness, and they pry on anybody that they can really get a hanger on, right? That's why they call the elderly, they call people that are like ex-dementia patients.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. So here in the United States, when we had the hurricanes in the Carolinas and Florida, and we had the fires in California, funny enough, to be brutally honest with you guys, I thought there was something wrong with my system. Because we went from pinging 2, on average 3 homes per week, to we were hitting 75, 80 homes a week. I'm like, what happened here?
Dude,
What's
bunch
going
of
on?
scumbags, man. Jeez, man.
Sure enough, I was looking, I'm like, what's going on? After the first hurricane, the second one, third one didn't surprise me as much. But it
Man.
would scare me. I'd wake up, my phone was pinging all night. Because we'll check at 3 in the morning to see if something happened. So it turns out these scammers were taking the homes and stealing them from these hurricane-destroyed areas, these fire-ridden areas, because it was one step out of the process of where's the mail going to go?
Yeah, big time.
You know what I mean? These people weren't even in their homes, let alone having somewhere to deliver the mail.
Jesus, man. That's crazy.
But the
People-
scariest... Sorry to cut you off, Chris.
No, go, man. Just
But
wild
the
to me, man.
scariest point of that is it's not like they only found 2 homes per week to steal. They had all these homes they're ready to steal right on deck. And as soon as opportunity struck, they went after it.
Yeah.
They got them. They were ready. So the question really is, not do they have your information for your home, even yours personally. It's when are they going to steal it? And by the way, we're very close with all the companies that we work with. So for your friends and family, you guys are covered for life. We take care of the contracting owners, your employees, assuming you don't have a million employees, but we'll work something out if you do. We take care of all of your friends and family, all of your homes. We don't care if you have 10 vacation houses. We make sure that the people we work with are covered no matter what.
Awesome, man. There you go,
course.
man.
Thank you.
A stand-up guy here, brother, man. I want to kind of end it off here, man. Like, if someone wanting to get in contact with you, they're watching this here. Obviously, your website is goldpatrons.com here. Is
Correct.
that the best way to kind of get it rolling and get something started here with you?
That'd be the best way to get to learn more about us. But if you want to contact me directly, because if you look at goldpatrons.com, you'll get our business site, right? Which is contact@goldpatrons.com. That's the basic email. However, because of the relationship we have with you guys at Blue Collar, I want to make sure people have my personal direct email address. So you should be able to see the name there once this is all done in post. John Pinetti, JohnPignetti @goldpatrons.com. Now, that's going to be my personal work email address. From there on out, to get you guys registered, we'll set you up. It's no problem. It's free of charge because you guys are coming through Blue Collar Marketing, right? Your home's going to be covered, your clients are going to be covered, and you're going to be able to give your clients a significantly better service to something that odds are the majority of you watching this today didn't even realize they needed, didn't realize you needed. And we're here to fill that gap, man.
Let's go. Okay, beauty, guys. Well, you heard it here first. If you're looking to add honestly, a significant value prop to your contracting business, that's something that's not going to cost you a significant amount of money, or just do
Any,
something too that's going to be. Go ahead.
sorry, it doesn't cost you guys anything.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it doesn't
Exactly.
cost you guys a dime.
100%. Like the price is all passed off there, and you can, get ahead of something that is becoming more and more common, especially as who knows what happens with the climate here. Reach out to my boy here, John. I'll put all the information within the video here in terms of the website, his email address. But I think for anyone that's even interested more in learning about this issue, like definitely hit my boy up here. It seems like, again, happened to my friend. It can happen to you. So it's better to be covered than not to be covered here, guys. So John, I want to thank you for coming on the episode here, man. Always a pleasure chatting with you. And to everyone else, thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next episode of Tech in 30.
Yeah, Chris, I appreciate you having me. And everybody, feel free to reach out. I don't bite, just to learn more. You're not obligated when you contact me to sign up. Let's have a conversation. It's not going to be email. We'll schedule a call, figure it out. And if you think, hey, I'm not sure if this is right for my company, it's right for your company. We'll figure out a way to make sure it happens to protect the people that you work with. All right?
Rock and roll.
Guys, I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody.
There we go. Awesome.